if you have a pumpkin, it's about to be frosted. And, we have people marching in Jewish communities screaming Intifada messages at them and terrorizing their families in this country. And it's unacceptable. But when you think about what's happening in Nigeria, you will be chilled to the bone. Let me head to the live line.
Juan is now going to speak to her guests on the EBOMD phone lines. I'm Tony Thompson. To you, EBO.
Thank you, Tony. Mike Arnold is a former mayor and an on-site investigator in Nigeria, so he's been there. His book is called Epicenter, Nigeria, Radical Islam and the War for Global Order. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you for being here. If anything drives me crazy, if the Pope wants to comment on something, and I'm Catholic, so I mean this from the bottom of my heart, dude, if you want to be involved in politics, this is your Super Bowl. So he needs to say something about this, because these are our people. These are our Christian brothers and sisters.
Absolutely. There's been, since 2009, 2010, over 120,000 Christians killed in Nigeria for their faith. Now, this is the front line of a jihad that's seeking global conquest. They don't just even kill the Christians. They've killed, at the same time, about 60,000 Muslims who wouldn't join the jihad, who were peaceful. Mm-hmm. So this is a malignant cancer there that's spreading, and it's about to metastasize and head us full force in the United States if we don't get very serious about it right now.
Yeah, I've been saying that for weeks. I'm like, we need to, it's time to hit the ground running and gear up. It's time. But I don't think people understand how brutal these people in Nigeria are. But it's not just them. This is how it would be everywhere if not reined in.
That's correct, absolutely. And it's interesting, Nigeria is so large. It's the sixth largest nation on earth. It's on track to be the third largest by 2050. So it's massive and it's growing fast. The northern part is caliphate-controlled, has been for going on 200 years, and it's a bloody, brutal caliphate. The south is presently mainly Christian. It's vibrant, and it's a great place in the south. What you get to see there is how these politicians work in both environments. In the north, they go up and they call these terrorists, these brutal, bloodthirsty savages, brothers and sons when they're speaking up there in that language. When they come to the south, they smile and wring their hands and say, "We're doing our best." And when you see that, you realize that's exactly what they say here. Oh, we're that's not us.
Yeah.
But it is. It's just different phases of the metamorphosis that's happened for 1,400 years. Every culture that this ideology has entered into has followed the same steps. Mm-hmm. And we better pay attention to it, because we're on step 2 or 3 here in the United States.
Yep, 9/11 wasn't that long ago, and we all know who did that. So we need to pay attention, and the fact that people are being persecuted and murdered and beheaded and burned alive and whatever the case may be, they don't care how they kill them. They just kill them because they're Christian. I mean, there is no greater love for God than to die for your faith in the name of Jesus, and I get that. But who wants to? They don't want to. They just want to be free to live their faith. And it's funny to me how the North is bloody, brutal, and like the fires of hell when they're under that, I guess we'll go with mindset, for lack of the caliphate. And then where they are Christians, it's like, milk and honey. So that's the difference between the two religions when you read the holy books. I mean, have you read the Quran? I have twice. So
I've studied it, not beginning to end, but I've certainly studied, dug into it, and absolutely. And what's interesting, what you point out, is people say, "Oh, what about the Emirates? What about Dubai? They're so nice." You realize that 80 to 90% of their population is slaves there. They cannot build a booming economy without two things: extraction, the oil, the minerals, and exploitation, enslaving people. And you look at any seemingly prosperous Islamic regime on earth, that's how they get their prosperity, is by taking, killing, extracting. That's just the reality of it. Look around the world. There's not an exception.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? We've got people who are biracial in this country screaming for reparations whose family are Dominican and never were slaves, and they act like they're being treated so poorly in this country when they literally know nothing about the world. Because if we sent them out there, they'd be like that Italian journalist who went to Gaza to try to empathize with them, and they called him names and then murdered him. And
that's
so,
right.
You got to remember, they don't give two flying farts if you have empathy for them, because if you don't do what they say to do, they're going to kill you.
Well, yeah, and so you've read the Quran. The way Muhammad went into Medina, it was the downtrodden, outcast. We're victims, a minority, and then little by little they they gathered all the disaffected groups, the naysayers and all that. They got them all together, and they won, and then they started killing everybody. Yep. They just used the simple, the useful idiots. And if you look at Iran, the gays marched with the Islamists to take over that country, and as soon as the Islamists took over that country, the first thing they did was kill the same gays that marched with them. Yeah, that's just how they do it. It's a 1,400-year pattern, and it's been unbroken.
But we don't educate our population on that, and now we're trying to, and they don't believe us. I'm like, how do you not believe us? It's historically factual, but they just refuse to believe it. So I really feel like if they want to know the truth, they should go and find out. I don't want them to die, but I just really feel like if they don't believe me, figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, or start paying attention around the world. There's a principle in Islam called taqiyya, which is when you're not in control, lie. I mean, just lie, smile, do whatever you need to do to get control, and then the truth comes out. That's, again, 1,400 years. It's an unbroken pattern, and the fact that we think we're immune here to it, it's insanity. Yeah. I do distinguish between Muslims and Islam. There are good, honorable, decent people who call themselves Muslims who observe the tradition.
Absolutely.
But Islam is a demonic death cult. You just read the documents, watch the example of the founder, and everybody that's following in his footsteps will kill you if they can. That's just the reality of it. That's what they're taught. That's how they're raised.
I agree 100%. But I've sat, sitting at a table with Muslim families, and we've talked about each other's cultures and religions, and they're very peaceful, and they don't like what's going on. And my main question was, why don't you speak up against this? And they said, because we are as in much danger as you are if we do. Right. And so that is why, but I wish more of them would, because that would help a little bit. But what kind of crazy are you that you've gone to this place 16 times?
It's really an amazing, amazing place. It's a big country, and the potential there is enormous. And there are areas, where this jihad hasn't conquered yet, and they leave some of these areas where the economic engine is. They'll leave it in place, and then they'll just subdue it by taxing it to death and extracting from it. So, like a garden. But if you know Nigerian people in the United States, for example, they're the wealthiest, most educated group in the United States, and they do it. They come here, start humble, the immigrant life, but they do it by integrating, by being patriotic, by being entrepreneurial, benevolent. I mean, amazing, amazing people, amazing community. They just can't do it back home because of this caliphate control and just the stranglehold of the international powers that keep looting and raping and extracting. The Chinese there are taking $9 billion a year in blood minerals illegally, and they're paying the jihadis. They're paying the corrupt officials to look the other way.
I'm not surprised.
I've been in a community that the Bokos was wiped out in the Christmas massacre. Those that weren't killed were displaced. I was there a couple months later, and you see the mountains of dirt from the strip mining. They run off, they kill and massacre the people, and they come in and take the minerals. It's insane.
Yeah.
But Nigeria itself has so much potential, and it's existential for us. This massive country that's booming and more influential than you realize, and is going to be more so. There's a fight for control of that. Is that going to be throwing the seeds of prosperity and peace to the wind, or is it going to be a malignant cancer that is metastasizing? That's what the fight is right now. This trajectory of this great nation, is it going to be good for the world, or is it going to be an episode of generations of darkness if the Islamists take full control of this. They have $1 trillion in minerals. And ISIS is headquartered there, Al Qaeda is headquartered there. Their design is to fully subdue it and use it as a launch pad for global terror. And that's why I keep going back, is to help the people rise up to achieve their full potential and to stop this cancer from spreading.
Well, they call you #Earthshaker over there, I'm told. But you got to be a little worried. I hope you have good security.
I don't know that I can go back anytime soon while this current regime is in power. I've been called out publicly by the president of Nigeria, by the sultan of the head of the caliphate has called me out, and the imam to Boko Haram keeps calling me out. I actually carry a gun these days here in Texas, been advised I have to do that. So,
well, everyone in Texas carries a gun, so whoop-de-doo. That's not security. That's normal.
No, I never did. I mean, I've always had one in my vehicle, but I've never actually carried until now because I don't know that I could go back without U.S. government backing.
I'd be walking around like freaking Rambo, man. I would be, And you referred to this as a reverse Wakanda, and it's true because you can't project secular democracy and then hide genocide, corruption, and an Islamic core that is just murdering people by the dozens. So, I mean, we can't fight any more wars. We've got enough going on right now, and everything that we're doing, I agree with. We're looking at Taiwan thinking, gosh, we can't let China destroy them too. But China is a great destructor. And everyone's like, but President Trump is his best friend. No, he's not. He's stroking his ego, trying to get done what's right for the world. So unless you understand how egos work and people who are businessmen know how they have to deal with these guys to try to get them to do the right thing, they're going to say they'll do the right thing, but you know damn well China's still going to do this in Nigeria. They're not going to stop.
Yeah, unless they are stopped.
Yeah.
That's correct. And so I don't advocate a full-fledged war against Nigeria at all. I believe that the majority of the people are good people and will do the right thing. What Trump needs to do, first of all, the president of Nigeria needs to be arrested like Maduro for the charge of genocide. And just what I have in my camera is proof enough. Mm-hmm. They know what's going on. They deny aid and recognition to millions of displaced.
Our Democrat Party will crap their pants, though, Mike. We can't do that.
You know what's sad is that before Trump, before the extreme polarization you're seeing now, you had some Democrats, even some of the most extreme left-wingers that were very sympathetic towards the cause of the people in Nigeria. But now that Trump comes out, he says the sky is blue, they're all going to flail themselves and say, no, of course it's green. So you're seeing some of that. But Trump needs to Maduro the president of Nigeria. He needs to designate or investigate the Sultan, the Caliphate, as a terror organization. He needs to target the camps of the jihadis. He's already done that on Christmas Day. We know where they are. He can surgically take those out with the push of a button. Mm-hmm. And then he needs to ensure a free and fair election in 2027, next year. That's not just monitor it, but ensure it. That's precedented. And with those simple steps, which I think are very obvious and called for, we can flip Nigeria. It can become America's greatest ally in the continent of Africa. I mean, they love us, but they're just strangled into submission. We help them break that stranglehold. They'll take it from there. I believe that. We're
almost out of time, but I do want to say that even if he does, they keep saying he's starting wars. I'm like, he is doing what he has to do to get peace in the world. He's not starting wars. He's stopping them before they start. He's going in and getting rid of the evil that wants to start the war. But people don't understand that because they have Trump just TDS is what it is. They're deranged when it comes to him, but we're the cults. We're the cults over here. We're the ones. But Mike Arnold is former mayor, on-site investigator in Nigeria. He's been there enough times to where he needs to be walking around with 2 full wraps of ammo and a couple of grenades and a couple of AR-15s while he's walking around Texas right now. Epicenter, Nigeria, Radical Islam, The War for Global Order. Where do people get the book? I've got 30 seconds.
Amazon, easiest, but go to mikearnold.org, Mike Arnold, MikeArnold.org, find the book. And also, I run a nonprofit. We have schools in the camps for these displaced Christians. We have over 650 full-time students. We're rescuing them from this cycle of death and giving them a hope for a new life. And so if anybody wants to find out about schools, the book.
You got to hurry, dude. 30 seconds is not this long. Got to hurry.
Yeah, MikeArnold.org. There you go.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.